Hi! Thanks for tuning in to my official YouTube channel. I'm Reverend MeeLing, Reverend Susan MeeLing, Lady Dori Belle. Lady MeeLing, I've been known by a few names, just depending on where you knew me from, obviously. So, I am going to talk about in this particular YouTube video of mine. Oh, by the way, like, share, and subscribe, and do comment, hopefully in a good way. So, I'm going to discuss certain events in specific, as I tend to do. I try to keep as best as possible in reference to the aspects of, well, on topic, as best as I can. So, back in 2008, when my now dead ex-husband had died, I had essentially been at my house in San Antonio, and the doorbell rang, and there was a knock at the door. So I go to the door and open it, and those who know military stuff, there was a chaplain there with I think he was a major, both in uniform. And the first words out of my mouth, those of you who I have either known over the years or have read over some of my stuff, you know that I had a head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000. And I had a subarachnoid hemorrhage in the frontal lobe of my brain. I was in a coma for a while. I deal with headaches and migraines. And I went from college algebra with trigonometry and calculus to second grade math because of the memory deficits and cognitive disorders. So, in turn, I don't have a filter. I've made the joke many times over that, smoking is my filter. Though I don't, smoke regular cigarettes anymore, and I vape now. The same applies by technicalities. Just saying. So, in that, as soon as I see these guys, my first words were, "He's dead, isn't he?" And the two soldiers at my front door were just, and I kind of look at one another after looking around, and they're like, "Can we come inside and speak with you?" You mean, may I? But that's a grammatical thing. I don't deny that. Okay, fine. So I open the door, and I'm like, "You could just tell me, And the guys were just, "Well, can we talk with you?" "Yeah, you're more than welcome to talk with me, but it's not like you guys," meaning a chaplain and an officer, "show up to a medically retired individual's house from the United States of America's Armed Forces just on, oh, there's a golf course nearby. I want a cup of coffee. We know where to go." Oh, and so the guys were just kind of, can we talk? "Yeah, come on in. You guys want me to fix you a cup of coffee?" They're just, "No." "Oh, okay. Okay. So what do you guys want to talk about?" And so, and I knew I am the only executrix to my dead ex-husband's estate in regards to ownership regard. And so he had already been injured. There had been several other things in reference to prior to him going back in, as his claim was IRR, but he didn't want to admit to the Army of the United States of America's Armed Forces that he didn't want to graduate with his PhD because he couldn't. He couldn't graduate with his PhD. The reason why he couldn't graduate getting his PhD was because I was no longer giving him the ideas of what to research for breast cancer research. Because he could no longer run ideas by me because he refused to give me credit where I deserved it. He knew that, no, I'm not going to give that to you. You give me credit, I will have no problem helping. If you don't give me credit, no. And that was between the first separation and the final separation. So the final separation, he had told me that he had been called back on IRR. And then that he could tell the Army for the United States of America's Armed Forces where he was going to be stationed. No. And then, he could be an officer. No. No. And then, not forgetting, I did have my hair cut and my hair color at that time. And I do not have a filter when it comes to my mouth. And those who have known me over the years would be able to be like, yeah, you don't need to be an officer. What? Maybe if the officer was retired. But now while he's active duty, National Guard or reservist, if he's full veteran, absolutely, definitely not when able to go back in active status. Nope. I'm sure there are plenty of individuals that I have met over the years that could be like, no, even in the Marine Corps, no, even in the Marine Corps, it would be funny. Oh, it'd be funny. But no, because those guys want to keep their rank. That's why. Just saying. And so I knew that when he tried to tell me that he could go in as an officer when being called back on IRR, individual ready reserve. So, just saying. So in that regard, it was one of those, we had a few arguments before the final separation. He moved out of my house and he got his own apartment. That was the end of that. It's a really bad marriage. And legally only. That being said, so, the guys are in my living room and we're talking and I'm just like, hey, so, you want to tell me what's going on, why you're here? And, well, why don't you sit down? Why do I need to sit down? Well, it's protocol. Oh, for you to tell me what I already know? Okay. And granted, I understand that at that point in time, those guys were probably like, what type of, what type of female would be so, well, they didn't know how that was at that time, nor the years before then. So if they had known that beforehand, they would have very much been like, well, we got some news for you. Though in uniform, they still wouldn't have been like that. Nonetheless, I sit down and, I'm just like, okay, what you gotta tell me? And so I think it was a chaplain, he pulls out a piece of paper and he's like, I think it was 10 something a.m., we found DOA or dead on arrival when going into the barracks and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay. Anything else? And the guys were just, well, what are you thinking about? I said, well, I'm thinking about how I'm going to make sure to properly tell my son and my daughter after I make sure that they're squared away when it comes to their school and their stuff. And then I'm thinking about what I have to cook so that way, it's more comforting for them. And then I'm thinking about, and I just go down this list, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They look at one another and they're just, Oh, okay, anything else? Well, I'm thinking about how I'm going to tell my ex-in-laws and how I'm gonna have to do this and that, and I just go down this list, and there's just you know, and when was the last time you saw him? Oh, 2 days ago. Why? I'm like, okay, what's the problem? Well, you can't tell your ex-in-laws. Excuse me? What'd you just say? And the two of them, oh my God, what what did you just say to me? In my house? That's a really pretty painting on your wall. Oh, well, thank you. But did you just tell me that I cannot do what? In my house? Well, no. Let me tell you something. I made a promise to my ex-mother and ex-father-in-law that if anything occurred, I would be the first one that informed them, because they knew that I wouldn't hide anything, that I wouldn't hold anything back, that I would do things in a respectful manner. Well, you cannot. What'd you say? You can't do that. Get out of my house. What? Get out of my house. Why? Because you are not going to tell me what I can and cannot do in my own house. I made a promise. I'm going to keep my promise. And if you don't like that I made my promise, I'm going to keep my promise. There's a front door. Go ahead. And they just looked at each other. There was other discussion in that regard before that point, but it was one of those, are we allowed to stay on the property? Yes, you are more than welcome to, but you are not going to stand in my house and tell me what I can and cannot do. Yeah. Well, we're just going to go outside then. You go outside. I'm going to go and make my phone calls because I said I would, and I'm going to. So, okay. Yes, right, okay. Is there anything else? No, ma'am. All right, then. I'm going to go handle business. We're going to go outside. You go outside. You go ahead. We'll do that then. Okay. You go outside. You go do that. We're gonna send people to his parents' house. Okay. You go do that. I'm sure they're probably on their way or almost ready to leave. And that's good. However, I made a promise. I'm going to keep my promise. So you can either stay in the house. I can get you a cup of coffee if you'd like. No. Okay. However, if you are going to throw a temper tantrum and you do not want to hear me make the phone call, well then, there's a door. Fine. There's the door. Okay then. All right. You're going to really call them, aren't you? Yes, I am. I made a promise. I'm going to keep my promise. I don't make promises in a willy-nilly sort of way. When I make a promise, I do everything possible to keep my promise. And if I cannot keep my promise, I do my best to explain as to the reasons why. This, as far as you two telling me that you're going to send somebody over there, is not a reason for me not to keep my promise. So you can either stay here and watch how I do it, or there's the door. But we're just gonna go outside. Okay, you go outside then. Fine, okay. Would you like a cup of coffee while you're outside? No. Okay. If you guys want a cup of coffee, I will make you a cup of coffee. It's already in the percolator right now. So, you know, I got coffee. No, thank you. Okay. They went outside. I got my phone and yes, Grandpa Nichols. And then, you know, spoke with him. And it wasn't like I was rude or anything. I explained things to him. And then same thing when it came to my ex-mother-in-law, Grandma Nichols. And at that time she was driving. I was like, I need you to pull over. Grandpa Nichols prefers that I tell you this, so I need you to pull over. And, you know, I'll stay on the phone with you until so on and so forth. And you know, and then we discussed it. And then so on and so forth. So that after I was done, not being callous, just got it taken care of, I go outside and, would you guys like a cup of coffee? No. Okay, I think you're being stubborn. I think you're being stubborn. However, if you really don't want a cup of coffee, which I have some already brewed, if you want to get over your stubbornness, I have coffee, I have creamer, different flavors, and sugar as well as milk if you don't want creamer. We don't want any coffee. I think you're being stubborn. But okay. Fine. If you don't want any coffee, being in your uniforms right now, I will not make you your own individual cups of coffee. However, all you have to do is tell me you want some coffee, and I will make you some. We don't want any coffee right now. Okay. I think you're being stubborn, but okay. We're just going to stay over here on the corner. Okay. That is your choice. You can... Yes, dears. Yes. And so I walk... As I'm walking away from the two of them, as they're just, don't want any coffee. Yeah, yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they were being stubborn. Anyway. My neighbor came back to her house, which was in the cul-de-sac, and she obviously saw the two soldiers in uniform. She gets out of the car, she comes over to me and she's like, what's going on? I was like, so let me explain some stuff. And I explained it to her and she was, oh my God, Susan. And I said, well, you know, it is what it is. But there are two soldiers that want to try to tell me in my house what I can and cannot do. And the two of them just they had much grarer faces than that, but nonetheless. I still have coffee, if you want coffee. Oh, okay. Soldiers in uniform who do not want coffee. No. I have a difficulty now as well as then believing that one. But okay. I will not make any coffee in individual cups for you. Fine. And you can go and get your other coffee because, all I gotta do is that, but fine. Nonetheless, she and I spoke for a while, and then it was okay, gotta go take care of the other stuff. And did what I could as far as, everything else. And so, after all that, and during that particular week, setting up the stuff with the E7 funeral director and all that sort of stuff, my ex-sister-in-law, Susie Marie Nichols Lopez, wanted to handle the stuff in regards to Fort Worth because I had made the choice to have my dead ex-husband's body moved from San Antonio to Fort Worth to be buried in the Dallas-Fort Worth National Cemetery. I chose that because I knew Grandpa Nichols would not travel to San Antonio and would regret it. I knew that my ex-brother-in-law, Tony Walker Nichols, would have issues in regards to all of my, specifically his two sisters, but my two ex-sisters-in-law, with all of their children in my house, with him and his wife and her two daughters, and then his mom with her dogs that would have inevitably gone to my house. And so I was just, okay, I'll do it. And plus which I knew that there'd be extended family, and I knew that it was cheaper as far as flights to fly into the Dallas-Fort Worth National or International Airport in comparison to flying into the San Antonio International Airport. And so it was a multifaceted aspect. So Susie Marie Nichols Lopez, my ex-sister-in-law, had set up the, as I wound up learning out there, the St. Patrick's Cathedral, knowing that her brother not only died as an atheist, but also was going to have the atheist symbol on his marker because she was told that by him before he actually left for training, as well as after he returned after his injury to be in Warrior Transition Unit. So she knew that. It wasn't like she didn't know. Everybody in that family knew. As far as my ex-in-laws, they all knew. Even his father, Grandpa Nichols, constantly tried to get him to, essentially see the light, and he refused to. That was his choice. My dead ex-husband chose to refuse to, and I couldn't force him. It was one of those, that is of your own choice. I will admit, though, as I have before, he confessed to me a whole bunch of stuff before his death, but he still refused to acknowledge certain aspects. And so he can not deal with certain guilts that he felt. And I was one of those, well, thanks for letting me know that you cheated on our marriage, despite it being legally only, the entire time. Okay. Don't know what I'm supposed to do with that, but thanks for letting me know. Do what I can to never be with someone who would cheat on me ever again. That's the only thing I can think of, because I don't ever want to be cheated on. I had a feeling back then, and he had called me all sorts of names when I had told him I felt like he was cheating on me. And I was one of those, okay, well, I'm not willing to I never was willing to assist somebody to cheat on their relationship. And now that I know what it feels like, I'm going to stick to that much stronger. I will never knowingly, and I don't like being lied to. So that's a whole other aspect, because the entirety of I was constantly lied to. And so it's, nope, I don't, nope. I mean, again, as the reference being, he tried to tell me that he could choose which rank he was going to be when he got called in on an IRR to go back to the Army. And he told me he could choose where he would be stationed when being called on IRR, or Individual Ready Reserve. That is a tiny lie compared to the lies that I was told when he was alive. I don't like that feeling. So, that being said, it's one of those, I'm going to, and I would focus my energy as best as I could when I felt like I was being lied to. I did what I could to focus my energy, and that is what it is. And so, in that, the end of the week arrived, and I had set up the memorial service for Monday when getting back from the funeral. So that way, my son and my daughter could have the time in regards to the funeral aspect, and then when getting back, they could have the aspect at Fort Sam Houston. I got a phone call the day that I had to show up to sign for the body when I was driving from San Antonio. I was on the other side of Austin, closer to Waco, and I received several phone calls from my ex-in-laws, but in particular, I received a phone call from a female sergeant over at Fort Sam Houston asking where I was. I explained to her. And then she asked me if I was going to be at the memorial service. And I said, yeah, on Monday. And she said, no, it got changed to today. What do you mean it got changed to today? Today's Friday. It's known that I have to sign for the body. Fort Worth. And she said, well, the chaplain is busy or has a vacation or something like that. And so, switched it over. Oh, you switched it over just because he had nothing better? Oh, okay. Well, I still have to sign for the body. Well, can you be here in 10 minutes? Those who know the distance between San Antonio and the other side of Austin, so closer to Cedar Park and Round Rock, not going to make it back to Fort Sam Houston in 10 minutes. Especially not with traffic. And so, I will deal with that. So then when I get to Fort Worth, which there was much more traffic the entire way, and as per usual, I would get this sick feeling in my stomach when going through Waco. Like, it started the first time I ever drove through Waco, my stomach would start churning. It's like, oh, I feel sick. And that was before I was pregnant with my son. And so I was like, ugh, what is, ugh, ew, like, ugh, I feel yucky. My tummy hurts. My tummy hurts. And, it was only where is it? There's a stained glass farmhouse looking building on the right side of the road when you're going towards the DFW area, at least in that time frame. I don't know if it's still there. And then up until the circle building, that entire area, my stomach would hurt. As soon as passing the circle building, then my stomach would start to calm down, but it would take a while. And so get to actual Fort Worth at Laurel Land Funeral Home after dealing with a whole bunch of calls from my ex-sisters-in-law. The Army won't talk with us. Yeah, because I'm the only executrix. That's why the Army isn't going to speak with you. I'm like, you do realize that. You were only allowed to take care of things at, the civilian sector aspect, not in any of the other stuff. You do know that you are going to be, blah, blah. I don't have patience for this. You need to hurry up and get here. I'm only driving from San Antonio. I'm doing what I can. You could chill out and calm down. So I get there, and before I can fully put my car in park, or the van, I should specify the van, my 2 ex-sisters-in-law, all of their children, and Grandma Nichols surround my car. Really? Okay. So, open the door. What? The Army won't talk with us. Yeah, I know. Well, you're late. I did what I could do to get here. I've been and they didn't even know about the memorial service at that point. Yip. I am doing what I can to remain calm. My son and my daughter did lose their biological father, but my ex-in-laws needed their, feelings taken care of. Yeah, that was not my main concern, obviously. And so, I get my son and my daughter out of the car. Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr., gets out of the car, and he's talking with them while I'm taking care of my children. Get inside, and I'm about to take them to the bathroom after, there is a Chief Warrant Officer 3 right in front of me. Susan, and I see the Chief Warrant Officer 3 rank. No filter. Inside the building, no cigarette either. Don't you have a more important golf game to be at, Chief Warrant Officer 3? Oh my God. What? This is important. That sounds like a question, Chief Warrant Officer 3. Is it important or is it not? Because you are a Chief Warrant Officer 3. And when I was in basic training at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, they were phasing out Chief Warrant Officer ranks. They had phased out a whole bunch of guys. So, what is it? Can I take my children to the bathroom before we have whatever sort of powwow needs to occur? Yeah, okay, oh my God. All right, thank you. Come on, James and Lydia, let's go. Okay. Take them to the bathroom, get out of the bathroom, and the Chief Warrant Officer 3 is outside the door, and I look at him and I go, yes. And he says, can we talk in the conference area? Absolutely. What do we need to talk about? And he said, when we get there. Okay. And so my ex-sisters-in-law, their stuff, as far as their children, And then my ex-brother-in-law, their living brother. So Tony Walker Nichols is on this side. I think Mary's husband, David, was on the other side of Tony, or David Osteen, against the wall. And then on the other side was my ex-sisters-in-law, both of them, and their children, and my ex-mother-in-law. And my children were, being children that had just been in a car for several hours, so they were just running around. And Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr., was standing with my ex-sisters-in-law and my ex-mother-in-law. And I'm at one end of the table. The Chief Warrant Officer 3 is at the other end of the table. Long oval table. And I look at the chief and I go, "What's up, Chief? What's going on?" And the Chief Warrant Officer 3 pulls a poster board, puts it on the table. And I look at the poster board, I look at the Chief Warrant Officer 3, I look around the room, everybody in the room, essentially, as far as like my ex-sisters-in-law and ex-mother-in-law and Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr., and then like my ex-sister-in-law's children, they're all my ex-brothers-in-law are, leaning against the wall, just Chief Warrant Officer 3 is just standing there like, I'm looking after everything, and I look at the Chief Warrant Officer 3 and I said, "Yep, that's my dead ex-husband. What's up, Chief?" What do you know about, and he points to some of the ribbons on the dress blues. And my ex-sisters-in-law and my ex-mother-in-law start throwing a fit. And Chief Warrant Officer 3 didn't get any further than that. My two ex-brothers-in-law, they basically look at the poster, look at each other, look at me, and go, "Oh my God." And I look at them, and I'm just like, alright, what? My ex-in-law and all that, and then just stop with that. Just stop. And Mary Evangelina Nichols Osteen, also known as Malignant Mary or Bloody Mary, lunges on the table on top of her dead brother's poster and starts yelling at the Chief Warrant Officer 3 as my other ex-sister-in-law, Susie Marie Nichols Lopez, starts like touching the poster, and I'm like, alright, no. My two ex-brothers-in-law are just, oh. And before the Chief Warrant Officer 3 did ask a couple other questions, and they continued on their way. And I was like, alright, that's it. Chief! And he goes, "Yes." "Do you smoke?" Chief Warrant Officer 3 goes, I smoke cigars." "Okay, you and I, we're going to go for a walk. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. Make sure my children, can you make sure my children are okay?" Because, they were doing their, stuff. You gotta make sure it's okay. Alright, fantastic. "You get your cigar, Chief. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, I'm gonna get my cigarettes, and we're gonna go outside, and we're gonna walk, and we'll talk." "Oh, okay. Yes. Oh, okay. Exactly." My the female's ex-in-law, no. I go to the bathroom, I grab my purse, I give my son and my daughter a hug and a kiss. I'm like, alright, I'm gonna go speak with the Chief Warrant Officer 3. And they're like, "Okay, do you have anything that you need me to get squared away for you two right now?" "No, we're good." "Okay, I love you." Hug and kiss both of them. I'm like, alright, Chief, you ready? "Yeah, okay." "Let's go. You just So Chief Warrant Officer 3 and I step outside, and we get down the stairs, through the pathway, and we start walking through the small cemetery out there. I look at the Chief Warrant Officer 3 and I'm like, hey, so this is what's going to happen. I know you got questions for me, Chief. However, I have a feeling that in about 30 seconds, my nieces are about to run outside, and they're going to try to, like, encircle us to try to hear what you're asking me to then go report back to my ex-sisters-in-law, and then there's going to be issues. So we're just going to keep walking, because then probably about 30 seconds to a minute after that, my two ex-sisters-in-law are going to come out, and then they're going to try. And so we're just going to keep on walking, and we're just going to keep on talking until they go inside. And then you and I can talk, and whatever questions you have for me, I will answer honestly. Is that okay? Chief Warrant Officer looks down at me because he's taller than me. Yeah, okay. All right, fantastic. So I light up my cigarette. You need a light? And he's like, oh, okay. Doors open. Not ninja, not at all. And, you know, like that sort of noise. And it's like, and it begins. You ready? Let's go. And so we start walking and everything like that. And you might want to double time it because they're going to try to be ninjas, which they're not. And so, you know, they're like, for example, let's say this counter right here is one of the taller markers. This is how non-covert my ex-sisters-in-law, nieces, and your daughters and son were. Not covert to put your hands on top of the marker and no. The flat ones, the ones that were flat, they put their hands on and were like, it's like, so we're going to just keep on walking and talking, Chief. What you want to talk about, Chief? And he's like, I don't know. Oh my God. Well, Chief, if you got, well, look, the weather's nice, right? Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah. Oh my God. What? No, it's cool. Okay, all right. We just keep walking. We're just walking. As predicted, my nieces and nephew, they got tired and they went back in. And then my two ex-sisters-in-law, they got tired and they went back in. They didn't even get that far. And so I was like, all right. And, you know, again, with each door, it's, you know, hearing that when they came outside as well as when they went inside. And, all right, well, you know, now that we're alone, Chief Warrant Officer 3, what would you like to ask me? Oh my God. What, Chief? Pretend that's a cigar. Yeah, Chief? Cat got your tongue? No. Oh my God. What? What would you say if I told you that the Army has proved that your dead ex-husband lied to you? Oh, well. Have you read through my file, Chief Warrant Officer 3? Huh? Yes. Oh my God, yes. Okay. So you know about my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000 and all the after effects and stuff like that. Oh my God, yeah. Okay, so have you read as far as, and I went through a bunch of things. Okay. So My dead ex-husband told me that he got called back on IRR. Do you know what IRR is, Chief Warrant Officer? Uh-huh. Okay. He tried to tell me that he could choose where he was stationed when being called back on IRR. He did what? Yeah. So anything you essentially tell me in regards to any questions you have, if I would believe my dead ex-husband would have lied when he was alive. No. You obviously, Chief Warrant Officer 3. Uh-huh. Yeah, so you know the Army stuff. Yeah, uh-huh. Oh, okay. Okay. Yes, you do. Yes, I do. Okay. So you know that, like, you don't tell the Army where you're going to go if you get called back on IRR. Uh-huh. Okay. That being said, what questions do you have to ask me? Because you pointed to certain things on the dress blues. What are your questions in reference to that? And so he asked me. He asked me if I knew what he had done or where he had been, what I remembered as far as what my now dead ex-husband told me. And I told the Chief Warrant Officer 3, I was like, I know he told me that he was stationed in Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan, as well as Germany. And that was before when I met him in medical holds unit. And he said, okay. And so I look at him like, so he told me that he had been stationed in Russia as well. And he had been stationed in England and a few other places, including somewhere in Africa. Why? He told you what? Yeah, that's what I was told. Why? Oh my God. What, Chief Warrant Officer 3? Where did you say you met him? In medical hold unit. What year? 2000. Oh my God. Okay. What? Oh. So what if I told you that he did not earn the 3 Purple Hearts? Well, I would tell you, as I am, that there was a point in time where during Halloween, one of my neighbors, her 2 children with my children, went trick-or-treating with my now dead ex-husband and that, thing in there, and, meaning Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr., and, my now dead ex-husband had said that he had been yelled at when wearing his dress blues when walking in San Antonio during the trick-or-treating by somebody, and he was mad at me because I didn't defend him because somebody yelled at him about his uniform. Why? You didn't defend him? Why would I? I don't know what goes on dress blues. I only know what 2 ribbons look like, Chief Warrant Officer 3. I know what the rainbow ribbon looks like for graduating basic training, and I know what the Medal of Honor ribbon looks like, and that's it. I didn't graduate basic training. Oh my God. What, Chief Warrant Officer 3? What questions do you have for me now? So you would not be surprised at all that he lied so much to you? No, I would not be surprised. What lies are you wanting to refer to? Because he confessed before he died, for like a month and a half straight, anytime over the weekend, about all the different things that he did wrong to me. So, he apologized for all of the beatings and so on and so forth. as well as like cheating on me with all sorts of individuals. So what in specific would you like to tell me that, oh, I don't like telling you this at all, ma'am. Well, what is it that you need to tell me then, Chief Warrant Officer 3? I understand you might not like to. I understand that you might not want to. I understand and comprehend that very much, Chief Warrant Officer 3. However, what do you need to tell me? I can't say those words because I'm in uniform. So I guess I'll say them for you. He was a worthless piece of shit, and he was a really crappy soldier. And you already know about the meat tags that he had tattooed, correct? Yes. I told him to have that blacked out, Chief Warrant Officer 3. I warned him. So, what else needs to be discussed? Nothing. Okay. Oh, I have a question. What? Is it okay if the Army changed on his dress blues before his memorial the correct, medals that he actually had earned-ish? If he actually earned them, then yes. If he did not earn them, then take them off of his uniform, because I don't want to be disrespectful in regards to when my dead ex-husband gets put into the ground. And that would be disrespectful to every soldier that is there and their remembrance of. Oh my God. What, Chief Warrant Officer 3? Nothing. Can we just walk a little bit more? Absolutely, we can walk as long as you would like, Chief. And so we did. We walked for a while. And it was a little bit of silence, but we walked and we, just smoked. And so at one point I look at the Chief Warrant Officer 3 and I said, by the way, and he goes, yeah. I said, I will inform my ex-in-laws so that way you don't have to deal with that. Oh my God, thank you. Yeah, I got you. I'm not gonna let that happen. And, okay, thank you. Yeah, no problem, Chief. I got you. And so, we walked a little bit more. We got inside of the area, and my ex-sisters-in-law run up and like, you leave him alone. We're gonna talk. But no. I am the only executrix, correct? Yes. Okay. You know that they're not going to speak with you, correct? Yes. Okay. So if you want answers, you gotta go through me. Chief, you go do what you gotta do. Oh, okay. Gone. Alright, I mean, it wasn't gone. It was just, he was gone doing what he needed to do. And so, it was the other aspects, and it was one of those, if you guys want certain things, it's within what the Army is gonna pay. Anything else, you guys are responsible for. That's just how that goes. I told you the Army does like a whole bunch of stuff. They have the availability to do a whole bunch of stuff. So you guys wanting whatever, this is what you are going to deal with. So my ex-mother-in-law picked the casket because, the corpse is gonna feel. But okay, and prettier, fine, whatever. You want it? You bought it. That's how that goes. They set up the St. Patrick's Cathedral thing. They set up the, meaning my ex-sisters-in-law, they set up the police escort. They set up a whole bunch of different things. And I was like, that's on you. If there is a bill, that is on you. Susie Marie Nichols Lopez, she wanted to have a limo and that whole thing. That's on you. I still haven't been paid back for the check that I wrote for my great-grandma's Nichols' mom, who was living in New York. She flew down from New York to Dallas-Fort Worth, and I wrote a check to Susie Marie Nichols Lopez that was supposed to cover the round trip on a short-term notice or something like that. And I was supposed to be paid back. I did not get paid back. Nonetheless, the rest of the stuff went the way it did. My ex-sisters-in-law did not listen. I told them not to put the religious items in there. They did. My ex-father-in-law, he put in the yarmulke. That was his choice. He knew that his son was an atheist. And my ex-brother-in-law put in a wooden cross. And he knew that his brother was an atheist. And so, is what it is on that one. My ex-sisters-in-law, specifically Susie Marie Nichols Lopez, stupid Susie Marie Nichols Lopez, yes. She decided to contact the cathedral, and I thought, up until the actual day of the funeral, that meant the priest from St. Patrick's Cathedral was going to go to the funeral home and do the stuff. I did not realize that she meant that my dead ex-husband's casket was going to be taken to the St. Patrick's Cathedral in Fort Worth until that day. And the second I could, I went and found the priest of that church. And I told him who I was, and he looked at me and goes, yeah, but I know Susie. And I said, yeah, I understand you know my ex-sister-in-law, but I'm the executrix. And he goes, okay. And I said, my dead ex-husband was an atheist. He's going to have an atheist marker on his marker. That's how hardcore he was about that. This is a Catholic church. I was not raised Catholic. I did go to a Catholic high school in New Jersey. However, and I told him about the head injury and all that sort of stuff, said, all you have to do is open the casket and you will see it. And he looked at me and he goes, okay, I'll take a look. Said, the proof will be right there. And what you do at that point is up to you. If you choose to take it out of there and then do the funeral rite, that's what you do. If you choose to keep it in there and do the funeral rite, my question to you is, could you at least not do it in the cathedral? Is there somewhere else that it can be done? And the casket, instead of being in the cathedral, was in the cafeteria, which my ex-sisters-in-law complained about. And I was like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care at all. Do not care. You know, that's just the way it is. And so, that was done, and then there was the drive over to the Dallas-Fort Worth National Cemetery. Susie Marie Nichols Lopez contacted somebody for a Liberty Belle replica to show up, and all sorts of other stuff. And I was like, okay. My son and my daughter were able to see what they could and all that stuff. And at the actual funeral, I'm looking around at the chairs and the people in the chairs, and then I get a glimmer, and I'm like, why is there so many shinies over there? And I look, and there are a lot of shinies. And my funeral director, the E7, had been direct ordered not to show up to my dead ex-husband's funeral in Fort Worth. That was why the Chief Warrant Officer 3 was there. I'm looking, and I see stars. Multiple guys with stars. The two different two-star generals that were the ones who presented the Bronze Star to me were not the only stars on soldiers' chests that day. There was nothing as far as beyond the company captain or company commander and one major, which was the brigade commander, that was below a lieutenant colonel. I don't know how many birds I see, but I see more than like 5. And I see a whole bunch of silver clusters of an oak leaf. More than 3 for an E5's funeral, mind you. I see a whole bunch of stars. Don't know how many guys. So stars. I think they have more important golf games to be at. Not being rude, just one of those, I do not understand. So then I walk over to the other side and I go, hey, Grandpa Nichols. Grandpa Nichols was in Vietnam. He was in E7 when he retired. And Grandpa Nichols looks at me and he goes, yes. And I said, do you see what I see? Like back there? And he looks and he goes, oh my God, Susan. Yeah, uh-huh. Do you see what I see? Grandpa Nichols looks at me, looks back to the right corner, sees all those shinies. Looks back at me and says, oh my God, Susan, really? I look at Grandpa Nichols, I'm like, yeah, yeah. So, not in a bad way, but red flag, 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 and a whole bunch more. There's something afoot. And Grandpa Nichols looks up at me and goes, oh my God. Yes, Grandpa Nichols. Oh my God, Susan. Yes, Grandpa Nichols. And that was when he remembered what I had discussed with him before the actual funeral in reference to the Chief Warrant Officer 3. And so I go over to where Tony, my ex-brother-in-law, and my other ex-brother-in-law, David, and I go, hey, you guys. And I was fairly covert. Like, you wouldn't have known what we were talking about at the time, unless you actually could hear us. And so I'm like, hey, you guys. And they go, yeah, Susan, what? And I go, be cool. But, look in the back right corner and notice anything? Oh my God, Susan. Yes, Tony. Yes, David. Yes. Hi. Do you notice anything right there? Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh. Oh. Uh-oh. Yeah. Yeah, be cool. Be cool. Yeah. So, this is gonna be interesting, huh? Uh-huh. All right, then. All right. I'm going to go over there and sit with my children. And it's going to be interesting. So I go sit down next to my son and my daughter. And all of the soldiers for the 21 gun salute were on the other side of the wall. I didn't see any of their ranks. And I was originally thinking that those guys were going to do the 21 gun salute at the time. It's like, it's going to be it. Well, then, then came the different portions of the ceremony. And, well, there was a PFC, or private first class, a specialist, and an E1 who folded the flag. And my heart sank. And those who have military backgrounds, you know what I'm talking about. That just fold the flag. Oh, just fold the flag. And the E1 was the one who had to do the tucking portion. Almost dropped the flag. Like, nope. And I didn't even look to the back. I was like, don't. You guys know better. And just, so then, you know, I get presented with the flag, and then the two different 2-star generals hand me the Bronze Star and the certificate. And I look at them and I said, what did he do to earn a Bronze Star when he stole valor for 3 different Purple Hearts and was being denied by his commander in Iraq for another one? And the two of them, can you, like, ask us later? You know, the family. Oh, I will. Oh, I will. Mm-hmm. I will. Oh, okay. You know, here. What did he do? And I opened it real quick, closed it. I'm like, gallantry becoming. I went, can you do this later? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I will. Mm-hmm. I promise, generals. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, they went over and dropped off the other flag and the other Bronze Star with the commendation to my ex-in-laws. Look at, gallantry becoming of a soldier. And they go to the back. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We will be talking later. We will be. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to end this particular video. This is part 1. And so I, after the 21 gun salute, the rest of the other stuff, I went over to where all of the enlisted guys were. And I look at the group and they're like, hello. And I'm like, hey, it's okay at ease, you guys. And then, who of you were a part of the flag folding ceremony? And the guys that were not a part of it went, and the ones that were, hi. which one of you did the final portion of folding the flag? The guys who were not a part of that, along with the rest of the other ones, went. So, and I looked to the E1 that had folded the flag, the last portion, and I said, come here. Okay. Yes, ma'am. I want to let you know, first off, thank you, all of you. I do appreciate your time here. I do appreciate the fact that I know that you were assigned to this. I know that. However, I do appreciate you guys doing what you could. Nobody got hurt from those misfires, right? No, ma'am. You heard that? Yes, I did. But nobody got hurt? Okay. You. Well, technically, because he was taller than me. Yes? So this is what's going to happen. I'm giving you a warning so that way you can prepare yourself. So that way you are in the correct frame of mind. Understand that you are going to be called into the office of whomever, because I would guesstimate you saw all of the shinies, and every single one of those soldiers went, I was like, okay, you are most likely going to be smoked, but you are also going to be yelled at. And understand it is only because of these different aspects. That is not your fault in particular. They should have given you some form of a warning that many were going to be here, because you were only told it was an E5 that was being taken care of as far as this is concerned, correct? And every one of them. Okay. So, not that you shouldn't always be prepared. You do know, yes, we know, okay. However, you are going to be yelled at. You guys, none of them were above an E4, by the way. You guys know what it's like. You know you're going to be yelled at, so on and so forth. But you are going to be yelled at the most. And just take it on the chin. I want you to know I am not offended. Okay? I understand and I comprehend why all of you are nervous at this point in time, because, you were not expecting that much brass. No. Okay. So, I want you to know, I, as the only executrix, that is my dead ex-husband, he's still legally married when he died, nonetheless, I am the one who technically should be offended, correct? And every one of them, yeah, it's okay. I am not offended. Do you understand me? Yeah. So you will be yelled at by whoever over there. Yeah, okay. But I am not mad at you. You guys' uniform, you're squared away. You guys got all this stuff's taken care of. Probably gonna be yelled at for a couple of hours. But know and understand, I am not mad at you. Do any of you have any questions? No, ma'am. Okay. Thank you. I do appreciate your time as well as your service to the United States of America's Armed Forces. You guys, with everything you do, just stay safe. Okay? Yes, ma'am. Okay. So that portion I'm going to stop at. And this is, as I said, part 1 of 2 parts in regards to the explaining of this particular situation. You guys like, share, and subscribe to my official YouTube channel, Reverend MeeLing. Thank you very much, and you guys have a good one.